So I have no intentions of going into radio. I mean, can't say, but as a friend, no, I'm so okay. I'll go and do it. Now, Satan Michelle, Nicholas Adimado, George Crabbe, James Martin, all these people. Now, Nicholas was on duty. No, so I mean, why not? Now, the following Monday, we had a GBC for said they had heard a very strange voice on the air, but who was that? He's not an employee. Until they investigated and found that one who said Jim now, and so that was how it went. But later on, they asked me to apply for the job because they were quite happy with the way I presented, though I'd never done that before professionally. Until they said I should apply. So those days there was a GCE O level or something like that. Now, I did not have the prerequisite results. But, let's give this gentleman a chance, because once he speaks good English, he speaks well, he's got a good voice, he can articulate well, give man a chance and leave out the results. And so that was how I got into GBC and into radio. My results seriously were not good at all. Wow. English was good, literature was good, mathematics was mathematics. I said, Department of National Lotteries. Gradually I started. They used to put me on a program called Guitar Bandstand, which I hated with passion. It was if I was a but that was the way to break you into radio. And then gradually I was handed over some English programs, which I started to do. And basically that was my flight into broadcasting. Very interesting. And I said to myself, even though I was still sick at the time, so maybe, just maybe, this is God's calling. We always say, Nyamina plans, and your plans. What He has planned for you is what He will execute, and that is where He will take you in that direction. And for me, I always say, broadcasting was by accident, because I was trained to be a mechanical engineer. I fix cars and stuff like that. That's a hobby.
That's right.
But I think that was God's calling to say that, look, this is what you should do, and perhaps go even further. Again, we believe it's with the training that I'm doing, it is God's calling. Because once Nyamiama talent, you also have to share that talent with people. Whatever knowledge He has given you, you share with people and say honestly, at least you know that you've left a legacy. By and large, that was how I actually got into broadcasting.
Right. Were you there as an ordinary? Sorry for the word ordinary.
No.
Presenter, or you rose up to become maybe programs manager, director?
That's a good question. When those days, when they employ you, they put you on a grade called a guest artist. Now, you are sort of like on a kind of contract, but not a contract as such. We are a programmer, they pay you according to your program. And so gradually, when my voice was breaking in and people began to accept the voice, because voices you were used to. When there's a strange voice, people start calling. We heard this voice. Who is he? He's either good or he's not good. Take him off the air or keep him on the air. That kind of thing. And so I started as a PA. That's a program assistant.
Okay.
And those were the grades. And then from there you go to SPA, which is a senior program assistant. And then from there to producer.
So what are the duties of a PA? Program assistant?
It's like if you help with programs, formatting programs. If nobody's around, you assist in handling the program, scheduling music, because everything had to be scripted. Selection of music had to be done on a script form. Everything was paper. Wow. It's not like today that people just get up and sit on the air and say, I'm start here now. That kind of thing. I was there as a program assistant. But I realized at a point in time, I began to exhibit the real interest in radio. It was exciting, not because of the fame, but because of the fact that I was able to communicate to people my feelings as Annan Forson, an individual, and my feelings of knowledge that I had about the world at that time.
Right.
And so I sort of like shared a little history of myself as we went on, and then, like I said at the beginning, I was very, very passionate about my job. And so people who were in GBC at the time took advantage of the fact that, look, this gentleman likes the work. It's just a But again, I said to myself, well, maybe God is doing something for me. I don't know. Until one time, I'm saying, yeah, someone went to be a and those days in the revolutionary period, no, if you don't open the station at 5:30, you get a query. There was a problem. Ooh. I mean, people were afraid of these coup d'etats and stuff like that. I've seen those coups, 3 of them, deadly ones. Whoa. And so I thank God that I'm still alive today. But having said that, I ran to work in my pajamas, and we would close at 8 in the morning. Yeah, some about 12, to come and do guitar bandstand. Until year 8, no, now yeah, some but I was able to cover up, so that nobody would get a query. Yeah. And people thought I was crazy. I mean, why should this man take his car, drive all the way to GBC in his pajamas, and come and do a program because somebody had not turned up? But again, it was a calling and a push from God to do that because I loved the job as we grew. Now, in the history of GBC, at the time, I was the only person who was promoted twice. So I was supposed to go from PA to senior PA, a senior program assistant, and then producer. But I went from PA straight to producer, which had never been done in the history of GBC. And there was a whole hullabaloo in the place. Why should this man blah blah blah? But
just came in.
Yeah, it was defended, at management and board meetings, and so that was how I rose to the ranks of a producer until I left GBC.
Wonderful. Did you do a bit of TV as well?
Yes, I did a lot of TV. There was a program called Bandstand on GBC. I did that for 2 to 3 years. There were times where we had an announcer would not be able to come and do what we call the program parade or the program lineup, which was then 5 to 6 to 6. So I would leave the studio and then run to the TV studio, do the lineup, and come back to the radio studio and do my program. So I was shuttling between TV and radio. Yeah, I did quite a few TV programs.
Right, on your 95.1, half an hour with video to her. Tommy Annan Forson, and I, Asiana, Yedin Komokakra. One my young who said, those days, radio, and here, you learned a lot in teen and there we practically Emma and others. But, young share those days radio and today's radio.
Honestly speaking, there's a vast difference. Vast difference.
Meaning we are doing better than those days?
Let me do the comparison this
Let
way.
me ask my question, please, DJ.
let me perhaps do this comparison. For now, it's sort of a free world, liberalization of the airwaves. Into everybody has got a chance to build a career, a broadcasting career for themselves. But the days of GBC, if you were to go on the air, it will probably take about between 3 and 6 months. You have to go through extensive training. We were trained by the BBC at the time. We used to do what we call a general level course, which was 12 weeks. And you had to learn pronunciation, how to interview people, the works of what we're doing today. But then, Drew Baby, they would put you on the program called Guitar Bandstand. And see, whether you're on duty or not, you come and present that program. Okay. So it was how to break your voice in, to get to familiarize yourself with the airwaves, how to communicate with people, and the things to say and things not to say. But apart from that, no, everything you had to script it. Everything had to be scripted, from your hello good morning or your hello good afternoon to your time. Your time segments were blank. The time is 2:05. The 2:05 was blank. Okay. Into Udru had no time, no account. Up to your signing off. Now, say maybe a program or China, my script must be ready today, and then give it to the program's director or the director of radio to approve, to go through and approve for air, airplay.
A day before.
Every day. Now, if you're even going to do a request program, send those days, not like today where we do dedications. I would me free beer, I manage shout out. Those days we call your requests your coupons. Into over coupons mean no editing, no scripting, plus the names and everything. And you have to go through training of how to pronounce names. Into a place like Ubiabeka say Akosombo, we were made to say Akonsombo. Akonsombo. A place like Flower. To say Chedi, Now, there's a story behind that chief, where, from what I understand, the chief came to my school and he told us the story about a farmer who would come home very late and go to his farm, very early in the morning. See, Nkofo and town, but he was always in a cap. So that's how the Chebi came into being, which was Kibi. So it's now known as Chebi. So all these things were made to rehearse properly so that you don't mispronounce someone's name. So everything from your hello to your sign off had to be scripted and approved before you went on the air.
Is that what you are doing now?
Unfortunately not.
Why?
I have no idea. I would want to think that there's a...
You need to have an idea.
I think there's a lackadaisical attitude into this job. Well, I will not condemn anyone, but Obia need a talent. You understand what I'm saying? In Tabia, you don't... Somebody will have... And she said, he has a script, but he's able to do it. Everybody has got a talent. I can act, I can do so many things, and that is what God has given me. And I told you, I'm a catching for say I've done up to today. My educational level was poor, in the sense that I was...
How poor was it?
I was not able to go to sixth form. I never went to the university. Everything that I have learned in radio up to today.
A son of an army officer?
Yes.
Why?
Was self-learned. So I have 2 books that, for me, are like my Bibles. It's my second Bible. And no matter what, I am still learning up to today. I speak very well, my pronunciations are good, but every day is a learning process, and you only stop learning when God calls you and you go into the grave. Every day, and that is what, unfortunately, a lot of people are not doing. The only thing Adewambe said, okay, they rehearse their LPM, like presenter mentions, announcements and stuff like that, and even perhaps the art of interviewing, whether it's an adversarial interview, whether it's a hard interview, whether it's a jovial interview, all these things. People are not willing to learn. Unfortunately, I hate to say this, but in Kofu people who are, they are in a hurry to get the fame and perhaps the fortune. But Waunim said this job, it doesn't really come with fortune. It comes with fame. Right. But then doors of opportunity can open for you, And basically, that is what kind of worries me today. But in the days of GBC, I was the only person and the first person in radio to be able to laugh on the air. And even that I got a query. Oh, because you were not allowed to laugh on the air. I mean, who born dog? You were not allowed to laugh on the air. But BBC, and I was doing a request program. I laughed uncontrollably. The following day, I query, like, why should I be laughing on the air when I'm doing a serious program? They were not going to suspend me, but in radio language, they say they'll ground you, which means they'll remove you from air. I'm saying, okay, that's fine. But this is me. This is Tommy Annan Forson. That's my style. So take me for what I am, what I have, what God has given me, or take me off the air. And that was how laughter in radio on the air began.
After so many years on radio, various radio stations
and TV stations.
And now it's not the TV. So oh yeah, you clap for yourself, you've really done well. In Pranesunya dear, and I say, no, Charlie, this thing dear. In Yayanka, radio requires shutting it down.
I would not be judgmental here. Like I keep saying, I want a talent, but I thought DBA, to be very honest with you, you see somebody who is very well vested in the subject matter that they are discussing or talking about. The person is very in music selection, but the delivery, a problem. We don't want to put ourselves into a basket of knowledge. Say, we prefer dictionary. Say, look, Android phone.
Yeah.
You can download everything on it, anything and everything. I even have the dictionary, both the American version and the British version, on my phone. I verify. Well, if you do that now, it gives you that satisfaction of say, Monsieur Bibi, If I'm impacting knowledge now, it benefits the person. But unfortunately, people don't want to do that. Well, people don't want to take their time and script and say, well, maybe this and this and this and this. People just want to open their mouths and talk. But let us not forget, say, Master, microphone, no. You might not know the magnitude of power that you will in your hand. It is extremely powerful, can create or destroy. I always say the choice is yours. But you need to create rather than destroy. Into me TV na me mispronunciations na me send rough with local news. In fact, yeah, I will not advocate the closure of any radio station. No, I'm just one person doing the job and helping people. But yeah, you realize that at a point in time, I said to myself, maybe I should just stop calling. Look, I used to call people like Issa Money, Portia Gabo, someone like your friend saying, the gentleman who does the morning show.
He on
right,
right.
When he was at Net 2. Okay. I used to do a training program for them for 3 months, 4 months, on weekend for free. He was one of them, very, very receptive gentleman, you know. And when I call them, they are very receptive to my corrections. I do not and will never impose myself on anybody. I just want a system where, you know, in a whole country, you know, egg debt, mean to me cancer. Just like say, it's like listening to music. Now, listening to music, it's either on a pen drive or a CD. But say what CD begins to skip now, you don't want to hear the sound. Yeah, so English is like music. It's the same of we get petty mistakes. You know, yeah. Up until now, the reason why I put that thing on Facebook was not me pre-commentary on the March past. Now, Ubi Power president. Sisi Uti Ubiaka president. President. When the actual thing is president, it is a Z president. You know, but again, people can say, oh, maybe a Tommy or yet two no. It's not a matter of two no. That is the way I know. I find it very difficult to make mistakes. Since I make mistakes, I correct myself. I only wish people would do that.
Once I would you mentioned someone like Eddie Fache,
Tina Moses, John Hammond. I mean, John Hammond is so repetitive. We 24 hours non-stop. No voice, no pronunciation. Now, who are air? Now we have mistake. Now, technician Bakaji also, John Hammond, so official air office, and they will or bed dress from head to toe. Now, so Tuesdays near our programs manager meeting, you go and meet 68 directors.
68.
That's directors, assistant directors in the boardroom. Because we program here, one more recording. Instead, it's a president instead of president. Now we drew her. So, yes, Mr. Forson, the other day you said president. When the pronunciation is president, what happened? Said, by the time you finish, one dress from head to toe. What shall you can't. Well, we're always on edge. It was like you had to learn not by force, but by will, which was good for you.
But was that also not putting fear in you? Even when you are on air, you feel like, hey, I will make mistake, and that creates some tension.
I will agree with you to a large extent, but again, you see, when you realize that sometimes, I'm sure you have that feeling. Say, we have good program, you feel that.
That's right.
And I did my program, my body, my casa, you know. I thought it'd be so. A day will come, everything you do from head to toe will be mistakes. It is like that. It's human nature. And there are days it's like, I did well, but into some but no, you ask yourself, what could I have done to make it better?
Yes, starting from TV, Eddie Fache, the commentary.
Oh, goodness.
Or making yes, we're in president. What happened?
President.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Ghana Television and my colleagues, Gifty Auntie, Joe Lati, Kuma, and so this is Edward Fachi welcoming you all to a live telecast of the activities that will take place here at the Independence Square in Accra. Today, as you know, is Tuesday, the 6th of March 2007, which marks exactly 50 years of Ghana's independence from colonial rule. When you remember the fact that the 6th of March 1957 also fell on a Tuesday, Then it gives today, Tuesday, the 6th of March 2007, a special significance. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Independence Square in Accra.
We are enjoying every bit of it, and the people around us, we've we'll try to resist. Well, so far, so good. The weather is just excellent for the occasion. And I think Gifty is watching me, listening. Gifty, it should be your turn. Over to you.
Thank you, Uncle Joe. It's a wonderful day, I must say. I think I agree with both of you, both Mr. Edward Fachi and yourself. It's such a wonderful display. VIP arriving in her beautiful kente. We have almost every Ghanaian here. As I'm here sandwiched by great veterans, we have Francis Sasu also here. I can only learn and listen, but I'm just going to do Q&A, which is something that I love to do.
Okay, we any part 3. Na uti the omokana. Uti yana no. I mean, you learn something. But it's no, they are giving out information.
Exactly.
Let's listen to this.
On a television, live in the studio as well as on the Black Star Square. What you see on your screens is the beginning of the trooping of the colours. Squadron leader Francisca Holu, if you could just walk us through the trooping of the colours.
Okay, thank you very much, Nanaya. So the band has just marched to position themselves as we await the arrival of the contingent. The escort contingent. As you can see now, the escort contingent is marching, and very soon the seven leaders will receive the colors from the escort.
Okay, boss, you've listened to the two. 2007 and 2006. Wait to listen.
The difference is huge. It is huge in the sense that
We progressing?
unfortunately, I hate to say that we are retrogressing. We're retrogressing, sorry, because of the fact that, you see, what Edward Fachi was doing, he was there at the scene. Now, radio is imagery. You create pictures in the mind of people, your audience, so that even if you don't have a television, whatever the person is describing or talking about reflects in picture form in your mind. So he was there. But here is a case where recently, the one we just had, Nanaya was doing sort of like a commentary through television. Now, on television, it is totally different because the cameras are stagnant in one place. At the Black Star Square is where you see everything as you turn your head. So you can describe things that you're seeing in order to create a much more a bigger picture of what you're watching on television. Now, if something is happening on the right side where Edward Fachi was sitting, that relates to what is happening at the Black Star Square. He could relate it in such a way that the camera could probably pan in that direction. But here you were sitting in front of a television, virtually running commentary. And for me, I thought it wasn't right. Now, it presupposes that those who were running the commentary at the Black Star Square were not ready. And they should have been ready. So that even if we are going to start the proceedings, or you say, well, we realize that the Black Star Square is now ready for activities for 6th of March, and we hand over to whoever is there and hand over, so that the person does live commentary, watching what he or she or they are doing as a matter of fact. And you should have all the information from the platoons to the regiments, the parade commander, to the vehicle that the president will be sitting in. All those things have to be there in watch or describe. You have the information there. But here was a case where someone on television was saying that, oh, Robert Mugabe just turned 97. You know, when it was 93, kept on repeating the 97. And for goodness sake, I said to myself, now we have Google. We have everything under the sun. Could you not have fact-checked all these things before coming on the air? Because the gentleman just celebrated his 93rd birthday recently. So why do you come on the air and say 97 and keep on repeating the same thing, and nobody could prompt you? You see, and that is misinformation. For a radio personality, you're supposed to inform, educate, and entertain. Now, whatever you're doing requires research. So if you're going to talk about Westlife, you have research. You Google Westlife. Today, if you Google Tommy Annan Forson, everything from head to toe is there. If you Google Westlife, everything is there. If you Google Robert Mugabe, everything is there. So you get that information, and even on your phone, you can describe it as you are talking about these things. So you don't take the listener or the viewer for granted. Let us not forget that, Master, even me, with my job as a broadcaster for 36 years, there are people who know far more than I do in terms of whatever. Maybe I'm an expert in broadcasting. I might not be an expert in politics. And so if you're going to talk about politics, you need to get all the facts and figures, because the person who's coming to talk to you knows more than you do. And that is how we should see it. And see, because they are on the air, they know everything, that nobody can challenge them. But it's wrong. Everybody is trained. A doctor is trained, you are trained, a musician is trained, even the president is trained on how to speak. So everybody's got his expertise in whichever area. And see, if you don't do these things, that it masks the beauty of what you're doing. And in fact, let me just say this. It was appalling to listen to some commentary that was being run, even live at the Independence Square. It was very sad, and that was why I said, gosh, if you listen to John Hammond, even Bemo Himinkwetia, or of blessed memory, Edward Fachi, Robert Owusu, David Gatatego, and all these things. The word
blessed memory or blessed?
Blessed memory.
Thank you.
It's blessed memory.
Blessed.
When you are singing, then you say, oh, blessed assurance. Okay. But it's actually blessed memory. People say the aged, but it's the aged.
Eh?
Yes. You see, I'm not, I beg you, I'm not here to...
Oh, no, it's good.
But it's something that I think if people were to put themselves into what you are doing, I think would unfortunately, I hate to say that. Journalism leaves much to be desired because everybody is in a hurry to get there. Everything is one step at a time. People want to be like Tommy Annan Forson.
Sure.
People want to be like Doreen Nando. People want to be like you. But unfortunately, they can only take excerpts, if I should say that. Nobody can be like you. You are you. So you be a first-rate version of yourself than be a second-rate version of somebody else. And in order to be able to get to near perfection, because it is virtually impossible to be perfect.
Sure.
Virtually impossible. And I think I taught you that there are 3 rules in radio. Practice, practice, and practice. That's rule number 1 is practice. Rule number 2 is practice. And rule number 3 is practice. Now, in your bid to thrive for perfection, there's one room you have to enter in the world. It is the biggest room in this world, and that's room for improvement. It's the biggest room in this world. There's room for improvement.
That's right.
You understand? So if you're going to run commentary on something that is of national value, you need to practice. And unfortunately for broadcasting, you have to behave like a mad person. You go into your room and you practice all these, you get all your information, you practice all. Anybody who walks you will say, Papa, you had a waboda man. But you are trying to perfect yourself. And that makes you different from other people.
Wonderful. There's this trend that I seem to say every presenter is trying to portray, creating controversy on radio to get a news. Is it right that I will plan with my producers or my production team? Let's create something for people to talk about us. Is it the right thing to do?
I will not say it's the right thing and I will not say it's the wrong thing, but it's a very dangerous attitude. Controversy dangerous. Controversy sparks interest on radio. It's a lovely topic. Okay, controversy sparks interest on radio. Depending on what you are talking about and how you depict what you are talking about. It is nice, but then it gets to a point where it becomes very noisy, very rowdy, without no control whatsoever. Nobody's saying don't generate interest in radio. Oh yes, you might have a good subject about maybe NPP, NDC, whatever it is. But you see, in radio, you have to be neutral. You're a neutral person.
That's right.
As of today, nobody knows Tommy Annan Forson's political affiliation. I could be seen with an NDC person today. I could be seen with an MPP person today. I could be seen with a CPP person today. And so the questions are in your mind. Who or where does he belong to? You won't know. And so you cannot blacklist me in anything that I do. Now, if you're going to interview somebody from NDC or MPP, give the person 5 minutes. Give that person 5 minutes. Don't skew yourself towards this person or that person, because we've always said in the world that governments come and governments go. Today, a lot of people are saying that, look, MPP have rejected me. NDC did not do this for me. That is not the issue. As a broadcaster, doors of opportunity will open for you depending on the kind of professionalism that you exhibit in whatever you're doing. So yes, generate the interest, but make sure that you sort of like stay neutral. People think that, oh, shouting and screaming and insulting one another, people don't have control, okay, as I would know it to be. For instance, if you were interviewing this gentleman, or I were in your seat interviewing, and then the tempers start going up, you try and control by saying that, listen, gentlemen, we are here to solve issues and not attack personalities. If it's going on and on and on, yes, you might sit back and say, yes, for one, you know, you're running commentary in your mind.
That's right.
But then you are creating a bad precedence for yourself, not being able to control the program. I would have just said, folks, we'll be right back after this, and take them off the air and tell them that, look, we are here to solve this issue. We are Ghanaians. Let's not attack personality. You are playing music. You come back. And then, let's continue the discussion. Yeah, we left off by asking you, what did you think about blah, blah, blah. The moment it begins to get hot again, you just turn the mics off and say, well, unfortunately, we are able to continue with this program due to unforeseen circumstances, and then play your music. You will realize that you will get a lot more respect in terms of professionalism than just sitting down and let people insult one another. When you do that, it creates a picture in the mind that, oh, maybe this guy is looking for something from one person who is able to insult this person and not that person. But if you remain neutral, it's just like football commentary. If you're running commentary or a match between Portugal and Hearts, if you watch the EPL or the EP or whatever it is, I'm not a crazy football, you know, whichever team scores, the commentator gives the amount of interest to both teams. But here, you can tell when a commentator belongs to one team or the other, and that is not good for radio. I'm sorry, that is just not good for radio. You seem surprised.
Do we blame the practitioners, what we call the program managers, the owners? Because it seems that the child is still every day.
I think, I don't know, people might disagree with me. Perhaps I might also need to ask. I think we are all to blame, because radio or television is teamwork, okay? So if I were to come and say, like jokingly, I say, look, the word is president, okay, not president.
Not president.
The word is committee, not committee or committee. The word is committee, okay? Somebody might take offense. I say, now, what does he think? What does he think he is? Who does he think he is? That is not the issue. But for me, criticism is what has made me what I am today. Somebody might condemn whatever program you're doing. Somebody might criticize the way you speak. But in as much as it is painful, we all want praises all the time. You can't get praises all the time. It's impossible. Criticism puts you on your feet and asks, okay, somebody said, you did a good program, but I thought the music wasn't good. The normal reaction from perhaps some broadcasters might say, oh, nonsense, excuse my language, what do you know about radio? What do you know about music? No. Oh, okay, what did you find wrong about my program? Let me see if I can improve on that. Because there are 10 commandments in radio. Commandment number 1, never be satisfied with thy own show. Never be satisfied with your own show. Now, if you finish today, somebody might sit back and say, well, let me go and have something to drink, some bitters or something to do. I'm not here to advertise. I want some bitters or something. But ask yourself, oh, did I do a good program? Was the music good? What did I say? How did people take it? You begin to do a self-appraisal, self-analysis of what you did. And say, okay, maybe tomorrow I'll do it this way. Tomorrow I'll do it this way. I don't know how many times a week you do this program. Is it every day?
No, twice a week.
Twice a week. So good. So twice a week will presuppose that if you come and introduce your program this way today, you introduce it differently the other time. And so every day, your introduction, your presentation, to whatever it is, has got to be different. And that is how people say that, oh, this guy is very different. You're not monotonous. You're not predictable.
That's right.
There are some presenters, you can predict them. And say, oh, you know what kind of music they're going to play. You know the kind of things they're going to say in their intro. But if you do a self-appraisal and accept criticisms, trust me, you will go a long way. But people, unfortunately, can't do that because it's like, I have the microphone. Who the heck are you to come and judge me on the program that I did? But the listener is like a customer. The customer is always right. Not 100%, because if you slap me, I'll slap you that one day. My fingers, they are thick. They are thick. With the bow when you saw when you do so straight.
Right.
But that is it. It's self-appraisal and wanting. This job is not having to do it, but wanting to do it. Because here, you have your fans, you have your base. There are people who criticize you. Take both, weigh it, and say, okay, this is a little heavier. Let me work on this.
Or programs manager. From Annan Forson, will you go for someone talent or someone with PhD, whatever, to be on your end?
My brother,
Boss.
I think, I'll say boss. I don't like normally using myself as an example. But then, again, not having the opportunity because of, I'll not say poverty, but because of circumstances, my inability to go to sixth form. I had to start working. I had to work as a taxi driver even in my broadcasting days to be able to put food on the table for, our families. But then, people look at me as a legend. I am not a legend. People look at me as an extraordinary broadcaster. I am not. I'm just a normal human being. But you see, you can go to the university today, have the PhD, have the BSc, have whatever you have. Spiogabra, from what I know, Spiogabra, has got the biggest CV in this country. He's traveled all over the world. But using him as an example, put him behind the microphone. It's different. Put me behind the microphone. I'm different. So for me, talent is more of an objective than having all the certificates in the world. This is a job of talent. Acting is a job of talent. Music is a job of talent. Everything is talent, but you explore what is within you, and when that comes out, whether it's certificates, whether it's whatever it is, if God has destined it to be that way, it will happen. So it's not a matter of certificates.
Right, Onia 95.1. I'm watching my Saturday. No, me and Saba Pamasima, and no back and go. Looking at the time. No, me and Saba Pamasima.
Yeah, it's 3:05. Professionally, 3:05, not 5 minutes. 3:05, but it is 6 minutes past.
Right, issues so actually now my mama my panel members no so no akasaka na market almost and same be on baby so but let's look at today's radio. They starting morning show from 6 to 10 and now TV3 is now 6 to 8 or so, right? So radio is now 6 to 10. Mid morning it's 10 to 12, and then one or two things, then we come to the drive 4 to 6. Some start from 2 to 6.
Yeah, 3. Some start even from 3.
Good. But what you need to radio A, radio B, radio Z, radio. It seems that we are all doing the same thing.
You see, if you go into the annals of radio, prime time or PT1 or AAA round the world, okay, is usually between 6 and 10. Prime time, because the assumption is that the listenership is quite high because people are driving to work. Some people might be at work already. Don't forget that it's not everyone who works. People will be at home. Some people might be on leave. And so the spectrum is wide. And so the revenue generating area is between prime time 6 to 10.